All right, cool. Let's do this. So this is the Ecosystem Wednesday call for Gnosis Chain, and this month we have the HyperNative team with Dan and Gal joining us. Thanks everyone for making the time to come on the call. Ecosystem Wednesday features teams that are building on Gnosis Chain, and we feature also a product demo, walkthrough, and it's followed by an AMA. So it's a chance for builders to get to know the Gnosis Chain community and vice versa. Generally just a pretty informal call where we feature some, fun stuff that's being built on Gnosis Chain with, the great teams that are out there. So without further ado, want to introduce Gal and Dan and HyperNative. HyperNative is a digital startup that keeps an eye on off-chain data sources and uses all of its machine learning models to accurately identify dangers to the community, economy, and governance. It blocks zero-day cyber threats, governance, and economic concerns, and shields Web3 apps, protocols, and administrators of digital assets from substantial losses. I'm sure that either Dan or Gal can do a better job at providing some additional context about what HyperNative is. So I'll hand it over to you guys and let you run with it.
Thank you, John. Hi, everyone. I'm Gal. A little bit about background about myself. I'm coming from cloud infrastructure and security background. Previously sold my last company to IBM, then was CTO in IBM Cloud and various roles at Google, VMware, Intel, and the government here in Israel many years ago, where I worked with Dan for the first time. We created HyperNative because we saw the huge amounts of money that is being stolen from projects, protocols, and institutional investors. And we've decided to take a different approach and mitigate security, but all sorts of other on-chain risks. And this is why we created HyperNative. HyperNative is, since September last year, is in production. We are supporting Gnosis chain, and if any of you missed, you can also read. We shared yesterday or 2 days ago that we also work with Karpathy for some time now. The idea of HyperNative, and I'll do a quick demo of the platform, but the idea is that we are monitoring everything that is happening on-chain, transaction, contract creation, governance proposal, anything that is being on-chain. We augment it with some off-chain sources that we collect in real time, and we deduct risk based on these monitoring and alerting to you about this risk before there is actually an impact. So we see ourselves sort of like a smoke detector before there is a fire, where the projects and the chains that we work today, we have a few chains also as customers, which we are going to disclose soon as well. When we do see any detection, we also connect these detections into playbooks and preventive measures based on the capabilities of the protocol or the chain. So I'll maybe share my screen and do sort of like a short demo, and then feel free to stop me and ask any questions. Of course, if you have anything right now, also let me know.
Gal, are you deployed on, how many chains are you on right now, aside from Gnosis chain?
So you can see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are on Ethereum, Binance, Optimism, Polygon, Gnosis, Starknet, Arbitrum, Zeta Chain, Avalanche, and Phantom today, and we are adding new chain every few weeks now. So we do plan to support many others in the coming few months.
Yeah, that's great. That's a lot of chains, a lot of networks. That's great.
Thank you. So this is the platform. It's a web application that you get a user and password as a customer, but also everything that you see here is supported by API. So many of our customers today are not using the UI or not using it by itself, but they are everything that I'm going to show you here. You can also configure by API and also consume all the alerts and the detections and prevention through API. A common use case of a customer in the system is that they usually create something called a watch list, where a watch list is an inventory list of assets that you want to monitor. It could be contract addresses, pool, token, wallet addresses, bridges, oracles, specific protocols, if we have the mapping for them, anything that has an on-chain address and you want to monitor. And I can tell you that from our very initial experience, we realized that people don't know what they want to monitor, because when you look at risk in Web3, in crypto, it's like a multidimensional problem. You don't know where you're going to be damaged. And this is why, and this is the first IP of HyperNative, we actually create a risk graph for you based on the assets that you add here, and also augment this with new addresses and new things that you probably want to monitor, but didn't specify explicitly. And we saw a very nice example of this working very nicely if you heard about, there was a hack in Polygon of a protocol called BankDAO that was also Alliance block was damaged. So the system was actually, this is a case that one protocol got hacked, BankDAO, and another protocol actually got damaged because they were in the same pool together. And the system knew to do this connection and actually warn Alliance block either, although BankDAO was the one that was hacked. By the way, you can read about HyperNative in the post-mortem there, because we, even though they weren't a customer, when we detected this hack, we still try on a best effort to warn the protocol and help them. HyperNative, by the way, was you are all maybe I'll also paste our Twitter account. You are welcome to follow it. We are today involved in all the big hacks and exploits that are happening in the chains that we support. We are a lot of times in war rooms with the protocols after, because we usually alert them first. Sometimes even before, like in Euler case, Dan here on the call, my co-founder, was actually on their Discord before most of the funds were stolen, warning them about that. The major capabilities of the system is that we are able to detect hacks and exploit before they happen in a very high accurate manner. And before, from our very extensive research, we saw that more than around 99% of the hacks and exploit that happened in the last few years could have been detected 2 minutes and more with a platform like HyperNative. And I'll show you a few examples of that. This is 100 Finance, which was actually hacked on Optimism. So after you've created this watch list with the assets that you want to monitor, you start getting risk insight. Risk insight are a deduction of risk that the system figured based on 5 different categories that you see here. We have security category, we have which is mostly around detecting hacks and exploit, but also a lot of compliance OFAC based risk. We have technical risk around ownership changes, contract upgrades, things like that. We have more than 200 of financial risk that we cover today, from depegging to health factor deviations, prices, and so on. Governance. So we started monitoring governance because it's a big attack vector, like various attacks and hacks that happen through governance proposal. And we are today doing the same classification that we do for other types of hacks and exploit. We also do for on-chain proposals. So HyperNative can be used as a tool to monitor a governance proposal and alert on anything that is suspicious. I think anyone that's employing an on-chain governance should be using a platform like HyperNative. We also have community-based risk, and as you can see, we have various different again risk for each of these categories. Risk types, like specific risk types that we cover. For community, it's mostly what we found out is that we can very accurately also classify phishing, scamming, and fraud activity that is happening on-chain, and basically warn you as a protocol or a chain about these activities as well. So maybe as an example, I'll show a bit of a use case that happened recently. So 100 Finance, a protocol on optimism that got hacked a few weeks ago. One of the things that we notice at HyperNative is that many of the attacks, there are like symptoms of the attack that can be detected before it's actually applied. And in that way, instead of monitoring the specific vulnerability, like you usually have, right, as a project, you usually go through an audit process, and that audit process finds vulnerabilities and bugs, and then you fix them. And then maybe sometimes you monitor as protocols, you monitor specific invariants that you have. But that's good. That's you monitor and you see and you look at the things that you know of. Many of the attacks and exploits are happening through vectors that you didn't thought about, right? Or you didn't plan. And the approach that we have taken is first to try and find these vulnerabilities with on-chain activity. Sometimes there are operational mistakes, deployment mistakes. For example, there was a hack on Saddle Finance, if you heard about that, where Saddle Finance actually used a forked library, which was exploited few months before the actual exploit. They fixed the code in the GitHub, so an audit process would have found that they done everything good. But when they deployed the contract, the fixed contract, they forgot to change the proxy pointer. So they had the fixed contract deployed, but they were still calling the exploitable contract. And this is something, so an operational mistake that led to a security mistake, and that's something that HyperNative would have catched. So back to 100 Finance. So what we do in order to detect these vulnerabilities or 0 days or things that you didn't thought about, and usually what the hack and exploit is happening is that we are actually detecting attacker contracts. So we know today, what we notice is that many attacks are happening when an attack code is being deployed. And then triggered. And this triggering usually happens a few minutes or some gap of time that lets you actually prevent the hack if you find it. And what we do is we classify every smart contract that is being created on-chain today. We leverage techniques that our team actually has done for Microsoft, from malware detection area. We know to understand when a contract is deployed, is this a malicious contract? And then understand that this contract is actually going to target and attack you as a protocol and warn you about it before it happened. So if you can see in this example, we see two groups of main alerts, where the first one is exploit that we find on 100 Finance. We also find the attacker contracts, wallet, and the actual victim, which is some contract address in 100 Finance. As you can see here, 100 Finance is identified as the target. But an hour before the actual hack, which happened on 2 p.m. UTC time, 100 Finance, what HyperNative found is actually a smart contract that is being deployed. We gave it a score based on our machine learning based model with high suspiciousness, and we identify the target that is being mentioned. So essentially, if 100 Finance was using this platform, they could have had 1 hour notice on the hack before it happened. Any questions about this specific case or about anything else? Okay. So I think we've seen this approach, and this is one vector that we are covering. We are covering various other vectors, but I think that from the results that we see right now is we find all the hacks and exploits that we know of, and we, in 99% of the cases, finding them 2 minutes and more before the actual hack, which we then work with the protocols and the chains and the bridge providers that we work with on connecting these to various playbooks and workflows that could actually mitigate and prevent the hack. You can, by the way, configure in the system. You can also consume and get these alerts. So you can configure what we call channels per watch list. And you can consume these alerts into Slack, Discord, channel email, or webhook API. And this is how we connect all of these automated reactions and playbooks. We also have a concept that's called costume agents, where the idea is that, as you saw, everything that we support, everything that I showed you is like out-of-the-box risks that we cover. We have more than 200 of these risks that you can decide what kind of severity or category you want to get notified. And we work, by the way, with the protocols and the chains that we work with. We help them basically define the best scope or the best program to actually monitor and understand what they need to monitor, because as you saw, we also have a lot of economic and technical risk in addition to the security risk. But we also have something, as some of you maybe heard about FOTA, for example. So we understood that there is a use case for you as a customer or a protocol to actually customize the agents and the detections. So you can actually create, we have a big group of templates that you can essentially take and define your own kind of agents and basically create specific thresholds to track all sorts of things that are related to your protocol or interested protocols or projects that are related to you, or oracles or bridges, anything that you might want to monitor based on thresholds and conditions that you have. And these things are actually checked every block. So this is the system. I think that, again, we finding various different use cases for the platform today, working with various big protocols already in production. This system already saved considerable amount of money for some of our customers. And happy to maybe answer some questions. If anyone has, of course.
Thank you, Gal, for that really nice presentation. Yeah, just a quick note, if you have your mic unmuted, please go ahead and mute it. Yeah, I have a quick question for you. I think you stopped sharing your screen, right?
Yeah, I stopped.
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, first of all, super cool product. I mean, it's obviously extensive. So let's say as a retail, participant, like let's say I'm a liquidity provider. I could use HyperNative to monitor the pools that I have, capital deployed into, and HyperNative would actively monitor those pools. Is that correct?
Yeah, so most of our customers today and the people that are using are more advanced, like less retailer focus, more our customers range three types: protocols that want to monitor either their own pools or the treasury or pools that their token is traded in, or for collateral, real-time collateral risk use cases like that. We have chains as customers on various use cases, from breach security to phishing and scamming detection to threat analysis. And then we are usually working mostly with institutional investors that has on-chain activity. We are, again, thinking about how to simplify the system and also make it accessible for retail users, I think, over time.
Cool. Yeah. It would also be, I mean, as a retail user myself, it would be great to have a dashboard that could connect to my wallet, and it could just automatically scan my wallet and monitor the tokens, the contracts that I have in my wallet. Or like I was saying, as an LP, it would be great to have a tool that monitors the security of those pools.
Yeah, exactly. And we do today, so we do integrate with like enterprise wallets to do exactly that, right? So instead of you populating this watch list, we can understand based on your interaction. By the way, these investors don't only use it for monitoring their own positions. For example, they are interested in monitoring, like, big whales or, other organizations, or as a research opportunities. So sometimes they also want to monitor how specific pools or protocols behave, which are they haven't invested yet, or by the way, wallets for various reasons. And definitely, I think this is something that we feel and we might want to experiment with, how we can maybe create chain-wide simplified view for Gnosis chain, both for all the protocols, but also all the users of the chain to get and consume some of these alerts in real time through either dashboard or community channels.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to see that. Now's a great time. If anyone has any questions for Gal or just the HyperNative team, you can unmute your mic and go ahead and ask, or you can type your question if you don't feel comfortable speaking, and we'll ask on your behalf. All right. If no one has any questions, then Gal, do you have any upcoming events or any announcements that you'd like to share with us?
So I would just say I can't disclose yet, but we have some very exciting partnership that we are going to announce in the next month. I'm also going to speak at CC, give two very interesting talks, and we do have a very exciting roadmap coming that we plan that's really going to unlock and find solution from security to any kind of on-chain risk for various different parties. So we'd love to share that, of course, with the Gnosis community and everyone else as well. So keep an eye for our updates.
Awesome. And just to let everyone know, if you want to check out the HyperNative website, it is hypernative.io, and you're active on Twitter as well. Yeah, next month, the Ecosystem Wednesday call is on June 15th, or I'm sorry, the 14th. It always happens on the third Wednesday of every month. So look out for that event. We'll post it on Discord here. And once again, thanks everyone for making the time to come on the call. Gal, Dan, thank you so much. and we'll see everyone on chain.